Let's bring them on, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, my people, and welcome to the SN95 Power channel. Today we have something a little different for you guys. Now, we just came back from Ford Takeover, and while we were down there, my wife kind of brought up a question topic.
Yeah, kind of like an observation.
What did you say?
I said, I wonder why not a lot of wives come down to the car shows. I didn't notice a lot.
Yeah, and on the local scene, you know, we've always done the local scene here. It doesn't matter if it's a Ford show or just a car show in general. We've pretty much always gone to car shows,
Yeah.
right? And so we thought that we would touch on this topic a little bit. And so we've got 4 things we're going to talk about. And I really want this to be from the female, or in my case, my wife's perspective. So we're going to get into this. All right, topic number 1, intro. So why don't you start this off?
So the intro. So this is, what are my thoughts about initially coming into like the car game? I guess when we first started dating, right?
Yeah.
And what did I think about that? So,
but let me just set a little background first.
okay.
Because before I started dating Kimberly, my dad and I, we were working on a eat and swap on this car, and we were in the process of street testing it. Had a couple of track days, and my dad got sick, so my dad was kind of in and out of the hospital, and I was kind of building this car on my own. And my dad finally made it out the hospital for an extended period of time. But around that same time, I was starting to have some oil pressure issues with the motor. And pretty much around that time, I knew I had to make a decision. My dad's health was failing, and he hadn't had a chance to ride in the car since we built it. So I had to make a decision whether I was going to fix it and wait and possibly not have him here to ride in the car while I was still running, or the other plan was just send it with him and, you know, deal with the consequences. And lo and behold, we went out, we had a great time, and the car started knocking, and, you know, that was the last car ride my dad had in his vehicle. And it's kind of when you came in, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is when I came in. And I remember, I think my earliest memory of coming over to the house was
Listen, like I said, the struggle is real if you have like young children and you two. So around that time, that's kind of when we started dating, right?
Yes, yeah. So I was saying, I remember one of my earliest memories of coming to your house was a time where, you know, I was trying to be cute. I had on like a little skirt and a little tank top, and I was walking up the driveway, and your dad was in the garage sitting in a chair, and you were under the hood, and he was just kind of, you know, you guys were talking back and forth, and he saw me, he was nice, he waved, and I just remember thinking like, this is kind of cool. That's, you know, this interesting. So I was intrigued. Prior to that, I honestly don't remember you telling me like on the phone about this car, about this project, until I actually saw it in person. So I was definitely interested. We did talk about me liking speed, and, you know, I used to ride a motorcycle, so I was kind of into fast things. So I just remember being really interested in that. So that was kind of my earliest memories of your car and seeing you with it, working on it.
Yeah, and like she's no newbie to fast stuff. Like she's been on a stretched out Busa, so like, and she's been on Tail of the Dragon, and so all that stuff was enticing to me when we first met. So the car was on hiatus for a while, and I wanted to get the car back running. So I had a couple options that I wanted to do for this car, and my fiance at the time, she likes to see things on paper. You know, I always like spit out stuff, but she's always drawn me in to put it on paper. And so I had an idea to do a coyote swap first, and a push rod motor, which is in there now. And you know, we always do like the Google Sheets, or you know,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that kind of spreadsheet. And I kind of had two things, and I just remember telling her, like, you know, my dad is always like a push rod guy. And I don't think at the time you knew the terminology,
No.
but do you remember me saying that? Like, I had these two choices, like, my dad, he's more of like this kind of motor guy, and you know, these new things are what's hot.
Right.
But you remember that
I
conversation?
do, and I remember like, oh, that's fantastic. Okay. Yeah, I just remember being excited for you because you were excited.
Yeah.
I had no idea what to expect. Things, of course, were on the spreadsheet, and they're still on the spreadsheet. Things are still being put on the spreadsheet. But I didn't know. I just knew I wanted to support you. You were excited. So, hey, let's do it.
Yeah.
All I remember is wanting him to be close to me. So our last house, the garage was separate. This house, the garage is attached. I wanted to be able to be close to him and for him to be accessible. I always had the dream if this is what he's gonna do, to be able to like look out my window and like see my husband working on the car. I just thought that was just like the coolest thing, and my husband's working on the car. So that's what I wanted, you to be near me. That's anything else we can talk about, we can work out, that's completely fine.
So that's just the intro. So now we're gonna get into the marriage part of this, because to that point we were engaged, and I think the full ramifications of everything came to forefront when we got married.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about this marriage. Next topic is marriage. So I'll let you start first.
Okay. We're married, right? And my married couples out there who are, you know, have these projects going, we know how much it could possibly cost. Money is constantly going out. That was new for me, actually seeing it and seeing the money constantly go out and bills constantly coming in. So it was just really trying to figure out like the balance and understanding this is, you know, again, I want to support, but this is something that is going to be ongoing, constantly. So just trying to find that balance, and being patient.
I think early on, more than the money, which what Kim didn't understand, was the time. And
yeah, that was pretty big for me. So I remember oftentimes on the weekends I would have the kids, and I would just try to be creative and find stuff for us to do. We would go to the zoo, we would go to, you know, festivals in Chicago. We would just try to figure out our Saturdays and our weekends to just kick it. And I remember that being important to me, so you can have your space to do what you needed to do, and the kids also were entertained. And then we come back at night, and then we are together, right, doing our thing. So again, just trying to find the balance of that. But after a while, it's just kind of like, I miss my husband. It's another weekend of not, you know, hanging out, and
was
I
it
can
really
see
a whole
you.
weekend?
Sometimes it
Sometimes
was, babe. It felt like it, because days without you feels like the whole. No, it feels like, you know, when we're not hanging out. Yeah, it feels like it's, and if it's weekend after weekend, it's just kind of like, you know. But I just remember really wanting to give you that space to work on the car and to also have the kids entertained. And so I just remember feeling levels of frustration when it was constant, you know, and we weren't having that time, because we have to have that time with the kids, and then we have to have our time, right? So I really wasn't getting a lot of our time because we had to spend our family time. That was, you know, most important. So it was just, you know, levels of frustration at that time. Just trying to figure it out.
Yeah. And I think also it was more now, like, well, when the car was ready and the car was functional, that family time was kind of morphed into going to car shows also. So
Yeah.
I just remember one of the earliest memories I had was the Lansing Car Show
Yeah.
at the River Oaks Mall. Like I didn't really want to go. Like honestly,
You didn't.
I didn't. I didn't think my car was ready, and Kim like damn near pushed me out the door to get this car there.
Man, I remember that, and we had a ball. I would say the kids had fun too. And that's actually one of our favorite car shows, like locally, that we like to attend every year. We had a good time, and I remember being really proud, and so happy for you that you can showcase the car finally, right? And we can be amongst other enthusiasts and families just having a good time. It was a great environment. Like we had a ball. It was a beautiful day. And I'm like, oh, this is fun. This is pretty cool. And then before that, I didn't even know that, in the area we had things like that at that level because Lansing was pretty big.
Yeah.
So I just remember it being a good time and just feeling so proud that, I was able to be with you during that time and you were happy and you were, fellowshipping with others, and it was a good day.
Yeah. And, the other thing is too, with the money situation is, honestly, I think I'm blessed because I think it takes a special kind of woman to allow us car guys to do this. This stuff isn't cheap, no matter how you look at it. And, money and marriage can be like a bad combination, if it's not done right.
Yeah.
And you definitely can blow a lot of money on these cars, and these cars can become your golden calf and be all consuming. And, I just always appreciate, because Kim gives me a lot of, we have a lot of trust in each other, but it's never a situation where every single part that I buy, it's like, okay, I gotta run it by my accountant, or, I gotta run it through to get approved first. But, it's always been mindful also, if there's like big ticket items. Like I would never purchase a big ticket item without throwing it past her. And so it's always that yin and yang where, she has to give me the freedom to make, smart decisions on this, but at the same time I have to, not be a dictator and say, I don't care, I'm gonna just buy what I wanna buy. Yeah. But I always try to push like big ticket things or ideas by you.
Yeah, I think, we definitely have had that communication really open. And then for me, you don't have a history of being irresponsible. So I've always had no reason not to trust you. And you've always been putting the family first and, in terms of our money. So we're not going to have lights off because you want to get, a car part. So I have that trust very early on. I think you know what you're doing. I think, you know exactly. It's not an idea of you don't know what you need. You know what you need. I think we've always talked about like quality and things like that, but you know what you need. So I've always trusted you know what to do in the project.
So how does that make you feel though? Like early on in the marriage, like did this car make you feel jealous in some kind of way, or did it make you feel like I'm not number one in this man's life? This car is number one in this man's life. Like I'm just here.
Is a second wife. It is definitely run past my mind. I think when it comes to time and spending time with you, because it's weekends where you're gone with the car and not gone with me. So yeah, it's understanding that it's a process. When you get things done, you need to test it over and over and over again. And my turn is coming. And I think when I got to the point where I started sharing that with you, I was able to go out with you. Then it was like, oh, we're all kicking. We're all together. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I like that. I enjoyed it. Because it was a long period of time where I wasn't with you a lot. And you were just gone.
Texting. So what was a turning point for you? Do you remember? Because I have an event in my mind, which was a turning point, but I'm just kind of curious for you.
I feel like it was, I felt that excitement. I'm sure not on the level with you, but I remember we were at the last house and we were taking turns going out in the car, and I think I went out maybe first, I don't know. And just hearing the car, when I was in the car, that was like, oh, you know what I mean? Okay, you know, and it was exhilarating for me. Yeah, and then maybe another time, of course, when you know, I didn't know that you were going to give me that, you're going to give me that sauce, you know, I had no idea. So that was really fun.
I've never published that video. That's like my family inside joke video.
You did it to all of us. Yeah, and yes, that was genuine. So yeah, I think, you know, it was for me that time where I could feel that with you. You know what I mean? Definitely not at your level, but I can just feel that and I can get it. I got it, I saw it, definitely saw the numbers. I saw it, I saw the passion, but I didn't feel that. You know what I mean? So
I think for me, what I feel is like that aha moment was the first time you went to the racetrack.
Yeah.
And I didn't think you was gonna be that excited about it. Like I just thought, I knew you would be happy because, you know, we were doing it together.
Yeah.
But like you were just like amped up just as much as I was.
I was sitting,
like,
I was just like, yeah, and it was not just, it was like the whole like vibe there. It was fun.
Yeah.
And again, not my first experience at a racetrack, motorcycles of course, but it was just like, okay. And then you came up. That was what's up.
Yeah, I think that was like, that was your all in.
I was
like, I'm all into this now.
Y'all wait. Yeah, so yeah, it was a good time. That was definitely a good time.
So, I don't know, I think that's kind of like a real brief overview of this marriage part of this story. And like I definitely would not have this car, my YouTube channel or my Instagram. And honestly, you know, my guy Ken at Blue Oval Media, he's the one that kind of like pushed me into the YouTube part of social media. But my wife is what really made me do the Instagram write-ups and stuff like that. Just trying to impress her, just trying to show her a different part of my skill set. And that was just pretty much trying to impress you, like 100%.
You didn't need to, because you having that knowledge and continuing to build your knowledge and helping others impressed continuously over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of you and happy for you. It's never ending though. It's never ending. I think one thing I would say is frustrating for me that you deal with, I say it's this kind of like cycle that he goes through every year where he, you know, gets the car at a certain point and then something happens. And then I see that frustration and I see that, you know, almost defeat. And then you have to figure it out. And that's all consuming for him to try to figure it out because he is wanting to make sure that he gets it figured out quickly. So it's conversation after conversation, and I can't help him because I don't know what the parts are and what to say. But just trying to be encouraging, but it's hard for me to see that frustration. And then he, of course, figures it out, and something else will happen. And then we're right back at the same. So it's cycles of ups and downs. And we've been married for 6 years, going on 7, and it's like a 7 year.
Sure.
Okay. All right, next topic is the community. Local, you know, we've kind of been dabbling with some national shows this year. This is something new for us, doing the national car scene. Yeah. But tell me what you feel as far as what you see local and national so far.
Yeah, so the local shows, I think there's a lot of family involvement by us. We're kind of like west suburbs, so I see a lot of families there. Mostly, I would say, you know, sons with their dads or, you know, nephews or, you know, whoever. Not a lot of women, not a lot of, you know, whole families, but definitely more involvement by us, I think a little bit further east. Outside of our town, it's not much. I haven't really noticed. More men by themselves than families. Nationally, not a lot of women presence. families here and there. It's just interesting. Elders, however, I see a lot of elders.
Yeah.
I love the elders. They're fun to talk to. They are retired. They're having a good time.
Yeah, they're rolling.
They are rolling. They got their chairs out for the entire day. So it's super cool. I would say, in all, I have a ball. I think the families are really cool. It's really nice to have conversations about the history of the cars. I think we found some really interesting people and stories behind the builds. I'm proud of your story, but there's other stories out there like it. And although every story is unique, it's just it's fun to see that, and then you get it like, oh yeah, that's why you're here, So I think that brings the community together, that everyone has such a unique story, whether it's just you having fun, with the build, or there's something behind that.
Yeah.
Everybody has their reason.
Right. So we just came from Ford Takeover, and tell me about a memorable moment at Ford Takeover.
Ford Takeover. I had fun at Ford Takeover. Gosh, a memorable moment. I think like the day, it's just the rain and the drama of just trying to figure out, like, are they gonna have like the track open?
Yeah.
Just trying to figure that out. Another memorable moment is for me talking to I like talking to old people, the elders that we were talking to, and just having a nice conversation.
The one with
them.
The two dogs.
The two dogs, they were
yeah.
such a nice couple.
With the huge Mustang
oh my
two-car
gosh,
trailer.
Yes, yeah. So just getting their story, and not just from the car's perspective and the build, but just them as people. What their story is, and so it's just nice to have those conversations and learn from them.
Yeah,
so I would say that was my memorable moment, just having that conversation. Just like, that's kind of cool. They were cool, and I look forward to seeing them hopefully at
Bleed Forward Blue.
Bleed Forward Blue in June.
Yeah,
we're in May, right?
Yeah,
next month.
Yeah.
So
all right. So next topic. Kim is going to give some tips and some nuggets for, everybody in the community who single, maybe dating somebody, or if you are newlyweds, or if you're female and you're dating a non-car guy. I think these tips could help you out also. So go ahead and give us a rundown of some things you think would be helpful to couples.
Yeah, and this is, merely from my experience and my perspective. Everyone has to do what's right for them. I would say, again, communication, I know that's cliche, but it's real. You have to be honest and open with one another. I hear oftentimes that men hide a lot from their wives, and maybe sometimes you have to alter the truth a little bit, but I think communication is open and letting your spouse know that this is what you're into, and just showing up for one another. There's something that she might be into. If it's opposite, there's something that the other might be interested to. So I think you should just show up for one another and support as much as you can. And I think that comes along with that communication piece, and just saying that, this particular thing is important for me this year. And then from that, kind of coming up with a plan of how to make it happen. I see that this is important for you. How can we make that happen where you're happy and I'm happy? So that's the balance. That's the balance piece. So it's the communication, what's important to me, and then trying to figure out what that balance is for each individual. Because what's right for us is different, of course, for another married couple or another couple in general. So I just think understanding what that importance is, and then trying to figure out, okay, this is what you want to do this summer, right? Is it reasonable? And how can we make it happen? And then this is how I'm showing up for you. Okay, so then how can we make that balance on this side? Not to say it's tit for tat, you got to show up for me, but it's just being there for one another. And I think that's helped us. I want to see you win. I want to see, but it's not, you've already won to me. So it's just, for me, it's just like, we're still in it. We're going to be in it 10 years from now. This is going to be passed down to the kids. They're going to be in it. I want them to be in it. I want them to learn. that's me. You know, for another couple, it just be like, okay, I'm gonna just, you know, go to this one car show. That's me showing up for you for this season. And the season goes past like that. You know, you started this months ago. And I'm like, Dad, we're already into June. You know, we only got, you know, a few more months left.
Yeah.
Because it goes past so fast. Because, again, you have that cycle. Things might break and then you're back in the lab again trying to figure it out. You figure it out, but then, you know, so it's a cycle. So, yeah, just showing up for one another and being honest and open with the communication.
Yeah, and I like what you said as far as, like, if you can get your significant other just to do, like, one show a season, just, you know, try to get that one show in, but you kind of have to have, like, a little carrot on that one show. Like, okay, well, you know, there's a show in wherever.
Right.
But, you know, after we do that show, why don't we go do something that you like that's nearby that show?
Yeah.
So kind of do it like that.
Yeah, that's what we did this past show. Okay, we're in, and not to say that I needed something additional, but it's like, yeah, let's go to Jackson and then let's kick it in Memphis that night. Had a ball. You know, we had a good time. And people ask, like, what are you guys here for? I'm like, well, we were in Jackson,
for a
few hours ago. You know, that's why we're here. You know, so again, I love traveling. I love the community. Genuinely, I do. You know, so, but just to combine the two, hey, can't go wrong with me. So.
Yeah, and I think that's a good little thing, you know, that you can do. Because I think, as a whole, everybody loves to travel in some form or fashion. And if you've just been doing this local car game and your spouse or significant other isn't really into it, you know, find one of these national car shows. You know, we have one coming up June 19th, Bleed for Blue Fest. Hey, you know, honey, I know you're not really into these car shows, but, you know, there's this thing in southern Cook County, Illinois that we can go to. And you know they have all kind of shopping and dining and all that
Chicago's
over there.
Beautiful in summertime.
You know, the car show is only like 5 or 6 hours, but then we'll have the rest of the day to hang out. So, I think that's it. You know, battery's getting kind of low here, so we got to wrap this up real quick. But I think this is some very good things that people need to know about. I really appreciate your support and your encouragement and, you know, picking me up when I fall down in this, because like I say, it is a roller coaster. Things break and I have this cycle, but we make it through it, right?
We do.
So June 19th, undefeated. I hope to see all of y'all there. You know, we'll be here June 19th. We're going to be in California in June also for another car show, Fabulous Fords. So I appreciate your time and God bless.